Okay, to set this scene, what I need is a big cylinder cut in half and extruded out. So it looks like this. And what that allows me to do is have a backdrop of some nature that has a very little shadowed region except for this area right here where the floor and walls meet. I got a point light in the scene. This point light is very strong. It is set to like 7. And I can't grab it without going into Window Outliner. So Window Outliner, I can grab that point light and now drag it here. And you can see that if I render this out using Final Gather, which I'll show you how to turn on, I got production quality all the way up, and I got features Final Gather on. So if I hit render, I have this, which is not very bright at all. Oh yeah, and I got this material that I gotta repair. Hold on. So do break connection. There we go. So now I should have this very bright scene. I always had to undo everything, so when I show you this stuff. So very bright lit situation. Not a lot of detail here because it's being outputted out through that very bright light. This is sometimes happens when you're rendering. You get like this really bright light in your scene, like an outdoor light or some ambient light, and you want to put all the details back in your piece, but you can't. So another way to show you this is, the ambient light of the sun. So let's destroy the point light and put the ambient light out here. I don't know, like who uses this, right? Now if you render, you can see that everything is just so washed out and so in a fog. So that's where ambient occlusion comes in. So let me crank that sun up a little bit so we can get the full effect of this ambient washed out light. Oh, too much. Perfect. So I got this bright ambient light source just like the sun. And what I want to do is save this scene out. So I'm going to save this image. I'm going to go to the desktop. I got like this folder out here. And this is called Bright TIFF. I save it as a TIFF. And now what I want to do is put back some of the detail or shadow area in here. Okay, and how I do that is I'm going to show you ambient occlusion. So all the pieces of geometry in the scene are lit using this Lambert 2. Okay, so Lambert 2, let's build this node out. What I need you to do is find mental ray lights, and there's 2 different ways to do this. There is the textures, which you can attach to the texture. It's called MIB ambient occlusion. I don't like it as much as I like mental ray lights, however. So the ambient occlusion, I can click and drag it over and arrange these around and attach this to my incandescent channel. Okay, I can also attach it to color too, along with incandescent. For right now, I'm just going to attach it to the incandescent channel. You need to make sure that Final Gather on. You need to make sure that the quality is all the way up. And when rendered, you should get something that looks like this. Now, you can see the shadowed area on the ground. Now, I'll save this image out, and then I want to show you one more image I want to save out. So, desktop, render passes. We'll call this AO, ambient occlusion. And then I want to do it one more time and then show you the advantages of attaching this also to your color channel. So it's going to turn black. It's going to give an error message. So this is if you want the rich shadows. Perfect. Okay, and desktop, render pass, and I'll call this AO2. Then I'm going to open all those with Photoshop and show you the advantage of using render passes. Right now, I toned this down, this lesson down to, just a color, no bumps, no nothing, to have people wrap their head around the whole render pass idea. So I'm going to open all three of these up. And what I'm going to do is take and establish one as the master. So let's say bright is my master. AO2, I'm going to right click, duplicate layer to bright. And this one I'm going to right click, duplicate layer to bright. Okay, so now what I have here is bright, but I have two more things sitting on top or underneath bright, this one and this one. So what I'm going to do here is take this one, put it on top, and turn it to multiply. Okay, and what that allows me to do is now I have the ability to adjust the shadows, soft or hard, in the background and bring out detail. So before I had this, and now I have this. Okay, that's the idea of a render pass, is you can take and put back in detail in highly bright situations even. And if you have three of them, well, sometimes you can get away with like a soft light. This one up a little higher. And those shadows are perfect. They go all the way from a range. And I bet if you checked out your histogram, which is going to be hard to see with no color in the scene. But you see how your histogram's moving? If you have in photography, if you have a histogram that looks like a bell-shaped, you got a full range of the spectrum of colors. This only shows the color from white to black, so you don't see a whole lot here. I wanted a good way to show it to you, but that's not the good way to show you. But trust me, if you have a good render pass out, you have the ability to adjust the shadows richer or more lean. So that's the idea of render passes, and that's the idea of ambient occlusion. So let's also see how you might apply that to something a little bit more complex.